Hello and welcome to the
I hope
Daze podcast.
I hope everyone's scratching their itch from the week before, waiting for our new content to come out.
True. Everyone's on the edge of their seat.
Scratch that itch, but depending on how itchy it is, maybe go see a doctor.
Get it checked out.
All right, I'll scratch anyone's rash if they ask, and I won't. Never mind. I don't want to put that out there because
we're the podcast that gives back.
Yeah, well, that rash might give you something back, so you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's actually a really gross thought.
I got scammed, or not scammed. Like I almost got scammed.
Wait, what?
Continue?
Sorry, I don't know. The rash made me think of it for some reason. Okay, so I entered this giveaway on Instagram where you comment. This is actually such a good scam, low key. If anyone's a scammer listening and wants a good idea. Basically, it was one of those Instagram things where it's tag 3 friends, post to your story, and follow the account, and we'll give you a blend jet. Was what it was. It's
a what?
A blend jet.
Oh,
so it's is that a blender?
Yeah, it's a mini blender, but it's I don't know. It looks pretty dope. It doesn't plug into the wall, I don't think, so it's kind of portable, which is nice.
Okay. I have to say that just from that, that just sounds like a fucking scam immediately.
Well, it's the official account that's posting it. It was actually, I saw it through the Soylent page because Soylent.
Of course, the Soylent people have this wireless blender. Sorry, continue.
Because Soylent's all into making your Soylent mixed drinks now and all that. So, anyways, I'm okay. So the Soylent page posts it, and the BlendJet page posts it. It's follow the BlendJet page, follow the Soylent page, which I already do. Tag friends, post it to your story, and save the post. Kind of a lot of things they have to do. It's we'll announce winners Sunday afternoon or something. And then all of a sudden I get a follow from an account called BlendJet Official with 20 followers. And I'm okay, this is a little sus. And then they DM me and they're hey, congratulations, you won, this is amazing. And literally they had a domain that was google.site/blendjet/ some random name. And I was this looks so sus. And they're just go ahead, through this link, you can register. We'll just need your name, your address, and a couple other pieces of information, and we'll send you your free BlendJet. And I'm this is so sketchy. What? But at the same time, I entered a competition to win, and now I'm being DM'd from a page that looks like the host of the competition. So it's pretty nifty trickery right there. And so anyways, I screenshot the messages and I send them to the official BlendJet Instagram account. And they messaged me back and they were hey, thanks for reporting this. We'll go ahead and make sure the right people on our team are aware. Thanks from the BlendJet team. And I'm okay. So that was definitely a scam, I'm pretty sure. Good thing I didn't give them all my social security information, right? And
did you follow up with the official account and say, hey, so about that contest though?
Exactly. And then I literally responded back, I'm wish me luck in the contest with a fingers crossed emoji. And they messaged me back. What did they say? This account has 500K followers too. And we're just casually chatting with one another. They said, hi Brendan, good luck with the 4-leaf clover and a smiley face. Hope you have a wonderful week. Best, the BlendJet team. Thank you, BlendJet team. And this is not a sponsored ad for the podcast by any means. This is just, I would love a BlendJet. So, doing everything I can out here. But yeah, I almost got scammed.
Yeah, well, it's good that you sniffed it out before you put anything down. They almost had you for a second.
Well,
for a split second.
I'm if there's some naive people on Instagram, especially 16-year-olds specifically are super fucking naive. They're people can easily fall for that.
Yeah. I think especially if you get emotional over winning something, I feel you'll get so excited you don't take that moment to then go, wait a minute, is this legit? I think in a less scammy way, I feel some advertisements can be like that too, where you'll see this really good deal. oh, it's 80% off. And then you're like, oh shit, I have to get it. And then as it turns out, it's always 80% off, and they kind of ripped you off. Like I've definitely had that happen before where I'm like looking up travel deals.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes that's a thing you have to be careful though. Even though that's legal, there's nothing overtly sketchy about it. It's just kind of a deceptive advertising type thing.
Yeah, when I worked at doing research stuff for UCSD, like we worked with old people, and like these people really, the scammers really know like how to like find vulnerable people. It's pretty crazy because like they were when I was like in their apartment, I would be in their like rooms at the old person's home, like asking them questions and stuff, like, doing surveys, whatever. And they would get like multiple calls like all the time on their landline while I was there, like just like scam calls, like constantly, like when we get your extended warranty or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that, but like even crazier. Like I don't know, it's insane. And like I think it works fairly often because these people sometimes have like dementia and shit. They're like really vulnerable. It's really fucked up. These people fucking suck.
Especially older people who have like accumulated wealth and stuff are sometimes some of the most vulnerable, because like you might have like a delusional 85-year-old with $500,000 in the bank account, and they're just like, oh, like, let me donate $200 to charity, and then it turns into like $20,000 because 2 extra zeros get added.
Yep.
And they have no idea what's going on.
Or it could be someone with no money who still falls for it because they think it's a relative talking to them or something. Like it's sad.
Oh yeah. And so like if you're a listener and someone sketchy claiming they're from the Dog Days podcast reaches out to you that they'll scratch your rash, like you are for sure being scammed. You're 100%. That's a scam.
First I scratch your rash, then I take your cash. That's a really weird catchphrase, but
you know what they say.
Oh my god! I had someone try to scam me like 2 days ago. Someone like made a fake profile of Asia's my fiance Asia, for listeners who don't know, her grandpa. They made like a Facebook profile like with his picture and name, and I thought it was him like the whole time. I never like interacted with him or anything, but I was like, oh, okay, he's got a Facebook, cool. So then he messaged me. Hey, I have the messages. Like out of nowhere, I was like, we don't talk like when we're not together, like he's not my grandpa. I was like, okay, hi. Oh, you know what? I blocked him, so I don't have the conversation. Anyway, he was like, hi Ben. He was like, hi Ben, how are you doing? And I was just like, oh, I'm doing good. Like I was like, I gotta respond. Like, be rude now. So I was like, oh, great. And then I asked him. I was like, him and his girlfriend Linda, Asia's mom, bought them a trip to Hawaii for his birthday, but his birthday is in September or I think August actually. So it was going to be a surprise. So I was just like, oh, hi, like, did you and Linda go on your Hawaii trip yet? How was that, And then he just said, the response was like, oh, like, I'm doing good. I just wanted to know, like, if you got this message in your inbox about, like, something from the PCM program. I was like, and I just didn't respond. I was like, this is weird. I'm just not going to say anything. And then I was asking Asia about it. She's like, oh, that's like a fake profile. They're, like, messaging everybody trying to, like, scam them about some program. And I was like, oh, and then I told her, like, I asked about the Hawaii trip. She's like, dude, that's a surprise. You would have fucking ruined that if that was actually my grandpa. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh
so
my
happy
God.
It was just a scammer.
Bro, scammers work in mysterious ways.
That scammer low-key helped you. He's like, hey, I want to make sure Ben doesn't ruin this.
Right. I was very grateful. It was just a fucking scammer.
That's so goddamn funny. Imagine just getting a DM from like a grandpa. Like, I can't even believe it too, because how can you tell if it's a fake Instagram? Like, anyone over the age of like 65 on Instagram, their account already looks like they scam people.
Well, but it's also like believable because like scammers and old people on like social media kind of talk the same way. It's like kind of off and like weird. Like, but like Asia's actual grandma on Facebook will like message me random things, or she'll like poke me on Facebook. And she's the only person who ever pokes me on Facebook. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on right now?
That's so ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, so funny. Like you said, like if there's like spelling errors or whatever, like it's kind of like a telltale sign that you're talking to like an older person or like a scammer. And it kind of blows my mind because like I feel like scams would be a lot more effective if they just spelled the words correctly.
That's true.
I feel like it loses some of the charm though. It's not the same.
Those charming scammers, I love them.
And it's not even that hard. Like, you know, you're putting a lot of effort into, you know, scamming people out of their money. Just make sure that you use like the silent pay or something.
See, this just means that, like, logically, this means that scammers and old people are the same. All scammers are old people, and all old people are scammers.
Yeah, very
They're
much
indistinguishable if you talk to them on Facebook.
Your logic is right.
Checks out to me.
Have you guys ever seen the videos of like people like will post these videos on YouTube where they will like call or like you talk to scammers and like somehow it's like crazy, like it's a long ass process. They like find their real name and like their information and they find the scammer's bank account or some shit, like tell them like their balance, so they're just like, what the fuck? It's so fucking amazing.
Bro, the scammers always get so mad too.
Yeah, dude, they get like they're like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? Like, bro, you're a fucking scammer.
Yeah.
In India or something.
If
like,
anything, you should respect this.
Bro, like you said, the one where the scammers get actually freaking scammed, like where like all of a sudden the scammer's bank account is there. It's like oh my god, it's literally the most ironic thing.
Yeah, but like I don't know if I've ever seen it, but I feel like I've seen titles where like they take money from the scammer's bank account and they steal from the scammer.
Bro, it should honestly just be a show on True TV at this point. Like,
it could be.
I think it fits the brand.
True TV needs programming, so
yeah.
If you're listening, True TV, and we definitely know you are.
Got an idea for you.
I'm pretty sure after the what's the show that Chris Hansen did? Dateline NBC. Yeah, To Catch a Predator. After that winded down, I think he for a bit he was doing like the same premise, but he'd be like, "There's another type of predator online, scammers," and he'd like try to like stop scammers and shit. And it obviously didn't last long because that's nowhere near as interesting. But that was a thing he tried to do.
That show is so fucking like. There's just some shows that I just can't watch because it's so uncomfortable and like cringy to watch. Just people in these situations, like it just hurts sometimes to witness people's reaction when they find out they're just like they're fucked.
It's funny for me. It's one of those. It's kind of like almost like a guilty pleasure show. Like I kind of got into it first like a year ago, 2 years ago, and like a marathon through a bunch of like the YouTube like highlights and stuff. And I kind of got back into it, I think like 2 months ago. And I think there's a sort of like, I like true crime podcasts and stuff. I think I just find that what fascinates me is like, how does someone end up at this point? Like what causes a person to go online and send horrible things to who they think is an underage person? Like what makes someone do that? And I think that's what there's sort of like a morbid fascination with that. But there are parts where it does get very uncomfortable to watch. But then seeing them get arrested is quite satisfying.
That's true.
But you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was cruising the cringe subreddit, which is just cringy videos. It is a guilty pleasure. Like sometimes you just want to watch some cringy shit.
Yeah.
There's this one. It was this guy, and he was kind of like he's kind of known online. He did like football related stuff. He had like a YouTube channel and stuff. I don't remember his name. But anyway, like there's this YouTube channel that basically just stole the premise of To Catch a Predator. Like they catfish like people and try to catch them basically, and then they like pose it as like an underage girl and like talk to this guy. He's like and then like he was supposed to meet up with her at a hotel, and then it's them instead. But it's like a 30-minute video of them like talking to this guy, like because like like To Catch a Predator, they kind of cut down the confrontation,
they do.
Highlights. But this was like a full like they just unedited, like put the whole conversation with him, like talking to him. It was just so fucking awkward.
I think I know which YouTuber you're talking about, Brendan. You might have even recommended this exact person. Those gave me a weird vibe. I don't know why, because like you said, it's kind of the same premise as the NBC show, but because it's this random guy just doing it on his own, it kind of felt sketchy like himself. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
why is this guy doing this?
He was really like unprofessional and like unpolished. And I think he had someone with him. I don't know it was two guys that do this thing or whatever, but like they were both like I can't it was cringy on both parts. Like it was just a really uncomfortable video.
Yeah, because I feel like if anything, like it'd be better if at least if the police were involved, like they could maybe like arrest the dude, but then it's just like this guy could get hurt, you know? Like what if like someone like freaks out? Like that could end really badly.
Yo, Ben, let me see. Is it this guy? It was an account called Anxiety War.
This is the longest link I've ever seen. What is
I don't
this?
even know if that link
It also
works.
didn't work.
Yeah. Try this one.
Are you trying to scam us? What is this link?
Are you gonna take our money?
Just fill out the information on the page.
That's not the guy.
Okay. That's crazy. Then there's multiple accounts that are doing this, like to catch a predator stuff on YouTube.
I could see why, though. I mean, those catch a predator videos, even though that show came out in the early 2000s, they still get millions of views. They're really popular.
The guy's name is EDP445, and there's like one like. Let me see what I can find. There's like some big video involving football that he was like a part of, like a few years ago.
He's an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Brendan's like, fuck this guy.
I'm just saying, I'm not a big fan of the Eagles.
I don't think it's too applicable in this situation, but you know, it might be.
But yeah, Ben, it was almost like the same exact thing with the guy from Anxiety War, where it's like, I'm watching and I'm like, bro, this guy is creepy. Like,
wait, it was the same thing? Like someone confronted him or he confronted someone else?
No, he confronted someone.
Yeah, he would chat with like people on like Kick or just online and pose as like an underage girl and then suggest that they like meet up. And then when they meet up, he would like just walk up to them and be like, show them like the phone and be like, are these your text messages? And the people always say like the same thing. They're always like, oh, I was coming here to like, you know, teach them not to do this. And I'm like,
yeah, dude, it's the same thing on To Catch a Predator. It's actually insane how everyone reverts the same like nonsensical excuses, where like either like, oh, like I'm a contractor, I'm here to look at the house, or it's like, or they'll be like, yeah, like, oh, I was gonna teach her not to message strange men, so I showed up at her house, or you know, so on and so forth. It's like, come on, God. Like,
it's so bad. It's like. In that situation, I don't like how do you not realize like how obvious it is that you're just like making, you know, you're fucking flailing and making excuses. It's just so rough.
Bro, and low key makes me sick like watching the show. Like
it's a lot. But again, I think the saying that the dudes get arrested and making fun of them, I think for some reason that part's a little addicting. I think that's part of the draw. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Not for everyone. There's always a point to when you watch enough of it where like, you know, it's starting to bum me out.
Yeah. Just kind of like the reality of like these people are out there, and there's probably like for everyone that gets caught on the show, there's 10 that are not.
Because you have to be so reckless and kind of dumb to get caught in these things. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're so like the balls to go to a house is just like, I feel like unfortunately there's probably some predators out there that are a lot more cunning.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a creepy thought that I don't particularly like, but.
Bro, I had this thought last night. Me and Asia were watching a movie. I don't remember what prompted it, but there's like some actor who was kind of like weird and off. I don't know. But I was thinking like, how likely is it, you think, that at some point, like watching a TV show or a movie or something, someone on, you know, in media, like they're a serial killer and like no one knows, like, and they're just like an actor, like, you know, like how many times do you think you've seen people like on the screen that are in real life like secretly serial killers? Like, I don't know, like what are the chances of that?
I'm curious actually, because it kind of like makes you think like how many serial killers are out there that like you would just never know about because they take care of business. And I wonder if like on TV, if there is, because I feel like at some point that would catch up to them. It would be like a huge story and it's never happened before. But it almost makes me think of the question, like, what do you think is the closest you've ever been to a serial killer? Like your whole life, just walking around, like even at UCSD or like traveling, or you're in Chicago right now. Like, do you think you've ever been within like a mile radius of someone who has like killed multiple people?
Mile radius, I feel like statistically, yeah, like that has to be the case.
Like, if you've gone to any city.
I saw some Jesus Christ, some statistic that there's like 300 or 3,000 active serial killers like at any point in the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and and obviously that's like an estimate because there's so many people out there who are doing this that like just don't get caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy to think about, dude.
Well, unfortunately.
It's estimated that there are as many as 50 okay, that's way less. 50 serial killers operating at any given time.
Fuck. I mean, that's better than 3,000, but still 52.
Yeah.
50 is still a little too high for me.
It's
I'd
crazy.
prefer
Like,
zero.
You'll hear stories about people, like I've seen people posting on Reddit, like, oh, like my aunt or my cousin or whatever, like was talking to this guy and she got weird vibes and it turned out that was Ted Bundy or whatever. Like,
damn.
Like they came like super close to getting fucking taken, dude. It's like, it's so creepy. It's like, I think it's the closest thing to like a real life like horror story, like horror character, like real life monster.
Yeah, I think if I've learned anything from like learning about those stories, it seems like you have to always trust your gut around like your impression of people, because with a vast majority of those of like people who end up like serial killing, there's definitely like red flags. They are very rarely like really sometimes they can be outwardly charismatic to a degree, but normally there'll be like something off about them, and at the end of the day, you really do have to trust your gut, because sometimes it's really on point and it can keep you safe.
100%, yeah. There's definitely people I've like interacted with, and like just on the street or whatever. Like I'm just like, they give me a weird vibe. I'm gonna keep this short and go away.
Yep. Have to.
Dude, Ben, do you remember when we were at remember that time that we went to December nights and there was that one guy who like flipped us off and like just kept staring us down when we were
vaguely
leaving?
Yeah.
That guy gave me like the weirdest vibes. I thought he was gonna murder me. He like didn't say anything. He like looked at us and then he like flipped us off.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I was
I was like,
hey man, like be nice or something. And then he just mad dogged us for like the next 5 minutes as we were like waiting to cross the street.
Yeah, something like that, like something like that's completely unprovoked. I usually, my mind goes right to like they have some sort of mental illness, like, and stuff like that. Usually, if they're it's a little hostile, but they're not like super threatening. You're kind of like, just stay on your toes, like stay wary, but they're usually just mental. Like I feel bad for them, honestly. I do remember this. It was fucking weird. Like he was like walking by us. And, yeah. Oh god.
And that's because it's a little spooky too, because like you said, you do empathize. Like obviously they're going through something if they're kind of acting that like almost kind of like outwardly irrational, like and just outwardly aggressive towards people. But it is kind of scary that to a degree, sometimes people could just get really upset at you and get potentially violent for no logical reason. Because like Brendan, you replying like, hey, be nice, like that's a very reasonable reaction to someone flipping you off for no reason. But unfortunately some people aren't exactly in a reasonable headspace, and they can make things worse. So it's like you said, but I think it's good to be on your toes.
Yeah, I think like anything like that, usually I just ignore and keep moving. Just like don't engage, because if you engage, if you like look them in the eye, it's gonna get worse.
It depends how you look them in the eye. You get a little.
Oh yeah, if you look at them sexually, maybe it'll calm down.
Yeah. But then it might work a little too well. You don't want things to get too serious too quickly. At least buy me dinner.
What can you do with those fingers, huh?
Please never say that again.
Sorry. That phrase is reserved only for crazy people who are flipping me off unprovoked.
Gotcha. It's
You
very
just
specific. I don't
you
take
just
it.
gotta fight hostility with just raw confusion.
Just rip off your clothes. Just start like you know what?
Dude,
That is actually a good method for getting out of a fight.
Oh yeah, like deadass. If I ever am like in a situation where someone's like trying to fight me for some reason, like I will just take all my clothes off and hopefully that's enough to just make them run away.
The problem is it might make them more angry, or it might, they might be into that. So you gotta be careful. Again, you gotta be careful. It backfire incredibly.
The way I deal with hostile like drivers, like someone who's like road raging, I always just give them the thumbs down because it's like the middle finger is hostile, and like it might piss someone off more. But if like someone is driving like a dick, I'll just look them in the eye and just be like, and it gets in their head, but it's not hostile. It's just like disappointed and disapproving.
You think when they're laying in bed that night, they can't go to sleep and like, man, that guy really did thumbs me down. What does that say about me as a person?
I usually just blow them a kiss.
That's funny, but that also
that could be really bad.
Piss them off a lot.
Please don't do that if I'm in the passenger seat. Like I'm not with him.
Road rage is genuinely scary too, because some people will literally just like pull a gun on you.
They'll fucking lose it, dude. Yeah, like I remember when I was in Milwaukee at school. Me and my friends were like crossing the street after we were like 8 or something, and like we were in the crosswalk, like we had the right of way, but then they like blew through and like honked at us, and I was just like, and they're just like, bro, don't do that. Like they could like we were in like a kind of a bad area of Milwaukee. They're like they could just straight up pull a gun if you piss them off. Like don't do that, dude. I was just like, okay, that's fair.
It's so crazy too, like the time period that we live in. Like the idea of someone just like pulling a gun freaks me the fuck out. Like I never want to encounter someone with a gun, let alone pointed at me. But if you go back to like the Wild West, you just have like saloons where like people get into like duels with gunfighting and like it's just like normal to murder people. I'm like, what happened?
Bro, imagine like getting in like an argument. Imagine bringing like get into an argument. Like what if like we got into like a really competitive FIFA match and we're like, you know what, like screw you, Brendan. You played as Manchester City, like that's bullshit. Let's go duel in Golden Gate Park and one of us will die. Like that and like people would do that.
It was normal.
It was insanity.
It's so funny to think about. Like, it made sense when dueling was a thing. Like when swords were still a thing for the most part. Like people like had swords. They're like, duel me, bro, and then they just sword fight. Like that's kind of badass. But then as soon as guns were like in the equation, like duel me, and then you just have to like turn around and shoot each other like from like 20 feet away. Like, what were these fucking people thinking? What are you doing?
Like, man, I don't care about a majority of arguments to die over it.
Yeah,
like, I can't even imagine.
Right.
Especially the argument of I can duel better than you, which tends like to be bullshit. The argument that drives the duel.
Yeah, anyone can fucking shoot someone from 20 feet away. Like I don't know how much skill goes into dueling with fucking like pistols, one-shot pistols. It's so weird.
I'm not sure how good those pistols even were. Because then like if you both miss, I guess you just shake hands and you're like, well,
I think so.
See you around.
Yeah. You're like, all right.
If you hit them, like I think you're supposed to try and hit them, like not like to kill.
Right.
But sometimes
like that's the goal is to not kill like your opponent. It's just to shoot them somewhere in their body. Like what the fuck? Like what is the logic here? I do not understand. People 300 years ago, what the fuck's wrong with you?
For real.
Fucking nuts. Let's bring back dueling, but like not with pistols.
Maybe like with string cheese.
Yeah, dude.
that's like, scary. Yeah.
Wow. The expert move is to quickly take a bite of their string cheese, like while they're swinging it. You're like, ah.
It's like a duel. It's like who's gonna finish their string cheese first?
Bro, bring back dueling, but instead of dueling, it's a hot dog eating contest.
Oh, Joey Chestnut would literally cream everyone.
Joey Chestnut would become the monarch of the U.S. Instead of war, we just have eating competitions from now on.
Low key, I mean, we already like live like the other thing that's crazy to me is like instead of war, we have like Call of Duty, and the idea of like going to someone like the 1930s and telling them that like, hey, in like a little less than a century from now, you're just gonna have a bunch of kids like sitting at home at like 14 years old in the fucking middle of like Afghanistan, just shooting each other virtually.
I feel like if anything, they might be like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because like people have been like playing like, like doing like little games like that since like people were kids. Like that's just always been a thing.
But like,
so if anything, nothing has changed.
The progression to Call of Duty just blows my mind.
Yeah, just technology got better to do this. You don't have to use your imagination anymore. You can watch it virtually, digitally.
Dude, just imagine like traveling back in time to like 1750 and just trying to explain to someone the concept of Call of Duty.
Yeah, because you have to get like, I feel like the Call of Duty aspect is the least interesting thing. They'll be like, I'm sorry, electricity.
Yeah.
Right.
From lightning.
It's just so many steps. Like,
what the fuck's a TV? What's a TV?
Ben Franklin went outside with a fucking kite, and now we got kids teabagging each other and saying they fuck their moms, dude.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty. It's a World War II game. World War? There are two of them? Yeah.
What happened after the first one? Why didn't we learn?
Did we beat England? No, we were with England. What?
Yeah, they were like closest ally. We're homies now.
Wow, that's weird to think about. Yeah.
Bro, what's crazy to think about is like we wouldn't have won the revolution without the French. Like,
dude,
that's kind of like glossed over almost in like history classes and shit. I don't know. Like, I feel like I didn't realize that.
And I feel like the French, like, it was like a losing game for them no matter what. Like they knew that, like they basically just sabotaged the British so that we would win the Revolutionary War. And the British were like, yo, bro, like, really, right now, you gotta do this right now. We're like in the middle of a war, and now France is trying to like pick at us. And so like they had to like divert their like assets to basically like dealing with France, and it allowed us to like basically become our own country. Without France, we would have been toast.
It's kind of a weird cascade effect because part of the reason why the taxes were imposed on the colonies was because of the war with France that happened before the revolution. And then with how expensive fighting the English was for the France during the revolution, it ended up kind of fucking them up, which led to increased pressure that caused the French revolutions to happen. And then before you know it, people are being guillotined in public squares in France, and shit got out of hand quick.
It's kind of fucked up that we didn't help France in the French Revolution either.
To a degree, yeah, but I kind of get why. Like that was such a crazy it was such a crazy event, and depending on what time we would have entered, we probably would have had to then fight England and Italy and all. It would have, because they were all trying to like invade into France to kind of get in there, take down the Republic, and restore the monarchy. It escalated quickly. So I can see why America was like, bro, like, I don't even like the original person we lended support to is dead now. Like, I don't even know what to do here. So I think it was the smarter choice to not get involved, because French Revolution was not nearly as clear cut or as smooth as the American one was.
It kind of blows my mind that like Napoleon and Beethoven were like doing their thing the same time like the United States was living under a constitution. Like for some reason I always think of like Napoleon and Beethoven as being like well before like America like had their revolution and everything, but nah, bro, like America was just post the Revolutionary War chilling, and then Napoleon was taking over Europe at the same time.
Oh, Napoleon. Bro, did you guys know that the president before Lincoln, James Buchanan, was like the first and I think only like confirmed like gay president? Like,
yes.
Like I had no idea.
I mean, it's never been like officially confirmed, but it's like
at the time
like
it was like
pretty.
It was talked about it, like well known. Like it's not like it's like officially taught in like history classes and shit. But like he like had like a friend who lived with him,
a very special friend, and he
Right.
never married, but he had this really special friend that will always stay with him.
No way.
Yeah.
And they were
roommates.
They were just roommates.
Oh, sorry, Pete Buttigieg.
Sorry, Pete. Oh, is that a prediction that he's winning the next?
If if he ever becomes.
Low key though, Buchanan. I'm not sure Buchanan was that. Wow, well, this is turning into a history podcast.
Yeah, we're a history podcast now.
Next week, the Mexican American War.
Yeah, next week, the Black Plague.
Oh God.
Followed by the Assyrian Empire.
Dude, I was thinking about the Black Plague yesterday, and it's so crazy to think about, like, modern day, like, we have a pandemic, like, people recognize it's a pandemic, and, like, when people die of COVID, it's devastating, especially when it's, like, a really hot zone, like India, when the Delta variant was first breaking out and stuff. It's, like, very morbid, it's very scary, but then to think about, like, the Black Plague and how they didn't even freaking understand germ theory yet, I'm pretty sure. And basically, you would just start to show symptoms of something, and you would die. Like you would just like it would just be like, okay, like we're quarantining you, and we're gonna like leave you in a room to die now. And a third of the entire population of Europe just died.
Yeah, and I mean it's different from place to place too. It's estimated that potentially up to, if not more than 50% of England died.
Like what?
Like I'm pretty sure Norwich lost like 70% of their population. Like some places got like decimated.
And they didn't even understand why.
Right. No,
like,
they
God hates us, I guess.
Divine. Yeah. They thought it was divine judgment, or it was all sorts of different theories as to why, but didn't help them very much.
It's kind of fucking nutty to think about the fact that we only learned about germs in the last like 150 years. Like,
yeah, we're very lucky.
It's that recent. It's crazy, like how many things like we didn't know up until like the last like century and a half. Like,
I think medically we take that for granted because I mean the Black Plague, it's a bacterium. It's you would just take an antibiotic and that would that's it. You don't have to worry about it. But back then, there was no such thing, and it decimated everywhere. It's back in the day, if you got like a cough, then that you could very well die. Yeah, we take that for granted now, and hopefully superbugs and antibiotic resistance don't put us back on that track. We'll see.
Yeah,
scary to think about.
It is. There's already certain diseases that are becoming more resistant to the typical antibiotics.
It's because people suck about antibiotics. Like they don't finish it or they overprescribe it. It's like you gotta chill.
Yeah, and it's just then like the surviving ones adapt to whatever that medicine was, and you have to switch to a new one, and then if they get used to that one, and then so on and so forth. Certain bacterium are more resilient than others.
Well, apparently, like there's a problem. I don't know, huge, but like it's a thing that happens that doctors will just prescribe antibiotics for like anything. Like someone has a cold, like a viral something, a viral sickness. They're like antibiotics. Here I go.
It's common because doctors, a lot of times, like they won't. If someone comes into the office and they know that they're fine, the doctor will still prescribe them something, just so that person can't come back and be like, "I died." And I didn't get prescribed anything.
Come back as a ghost?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, bitch, this is on you, homie. What are you gonna do for me?
Yeah. It just covers their ass as a doctor.
Well, they should figure out a better way to prescribe them some fucking ibuprofen and tell them it's something else. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially if it's a rash. If it's a rash, go see a dermatologist. Get that checked out. We will not scratch it. Don't even think about it.
Hey, speak for yourself. You got a rash? Ben will give it a scratch. It's my new business. I'm an entrepreneur.
What is it? Oh, is that a rash scratcher?
The rash scratcher. You thought I was playing? I've got merch. Alrighty, y'all. I think with that, we are going to wrap it. We're going to rash it up.
Oh, I see what's going on.
Hello, I'm not a father, but you would think I am.
What?
All right. It's a dad joke.
I see. Okay. I'm just. It's been a long Wednesday, guys.
Yeah.
or Thursday by the time this is being uploaded. So enjoy. But
True.
my name is Shane. Don't get the plague. We're not going to scratch your rash. Don't even think about it. Yeah, nothing clever today.
My name is Brendan. Along with what Shane said, don't get scammed. Just be careful out there. Just be careful out there. If they're not spelling their words correctly, it's either a scammer or your grandpa. You know?
Oh yeah, and be nice to people, especially if if someone's giving you sketchy vibes. Be nice to them.
True. And my name is Ben, and I definitely won't scratch your rash. Wink.